human being, welcome. For today's class, I'm going to show you how a lot of yoga poses are very similar, just done in kind of different ways. Okay, so for this, ideally you could do with a belt. It will be helpful for some of the poses, unless you've got extremely flexible hamstrings. So maybe just have a belt close by or something that would work as a belt. Now to begin with, I invite you to sit into a child's pose, so just separate your knees. Just go to whatever width you feel is best for you. If you've got tight hips, sometimes going a little bit wider can help. But if you go too wide and you're quite flexible, you can overarch it in your back. So just kind of find a comfortable position. Bum close to your heels if you possibly can as you stretch your hands forward. And you can always adjust in this pose. So if you're looking a little bit more like this, you can always put a block or a blanket or a towel or something in between your heels and your bum so you can find that contact. You can also do the same thing for your head. If your head is quite high off the ground, you can always put a lift under your head. Okay, so play around with props that might help you. If you can find your heels with your bum and you can find the floor with your head, then just let your body relax, stretch into your fingers, find a little length through your spine. And just pause and take a few breaths. So just soft, smooth inhales and exhales through your nose. And then bringing yourself up onto all fours. Just tuck your toes under, find a down dog. So lift your knees off the ground. Maybe bring a little movement into your down dog, whatever you feel your body needs this morning. If you've got tight calves, if you've got tightness in your hips or the side body or tightness in your shoulders, just have a little play through whatever feels good. After you've had a few moments of play, then find some stillness. So be strong in your hands, so you're pushing the ground away, you're finding that lift up through your spine. Maybe encourage a little more weight into the balls of your feet. For those that have got the flexibility, you can guide your heels a little closer to the floor. And you're really aiming to find that upside down V shape. Take a couple of breaths in your down dog, find a sense of softness in it. And then from here, just bring your right foot forward into a lunge position. Maybe just encourage some movement in your pose just to find a little bit of openness through your body. And then keeping your left hand on the floor, take your right hand up towards the ceiling, take a twist. And see if you can push away into your back foot, squeeze your right glute to encourage a little more rotation. And then bring your hand down on the inside this time. Just walk your right foot slightly wider and just start to bend your elbows a little. So for some of you, your elbows may come a little closer to the floor. For some of you, you might be able to get your left elbow on the floor. Some may be able to get your right elbow on the floor. Whatever works, okay? We're aiming to find some openness in your right hip. So if this is too intense, you can always drop your back leg. If it feels okay, then you'll also be getting a stretch through this left hip flexor. So just play with it, see what works. Maybe encourage a little bit of movement if that feels good. And place your hands back on the floor, take your leg back, find your down dog once more. And then once you find a little stretch in your down dog, bring your left foot forward into a lunge, right hand stays down, left hand goes up. Find that gentle squeeze of your hips to reach into your left hand a little more. And then hand down the inside, walk that left foot a little wider, and just see where you can come into your lizard. So there's no prizes for coming closer to the floor, just see what works for your hips. If you do have some props, you can always have your elbows on bricks or blocks. And then again, if you want to bring a little bit of movement, you can bring a little movement. And then hands back down, step back into your down dog one more time. And then come back to where we started, drop your knees and find your child's pose. And then walk your hands back towards your knees, sit yourselves up. So we're going to start with Supta Asana 1. So with this, take your belt, shuffle yourself around. If you've got a wall, I personally like to use a wall to push it into. It would be helpful to have a wall for this practice, so maybe position yourself somewhere where you can use a wall. The belt is going to go around your right foot. The left foot presses into your wall as you lower it yourself down. If you lower yourself down, your foot comes away, wiggle yourself in. And then take your right leg up towards the ceiling. So, I personally like to have the belt around the ball of my foot. I like to hold the belt like a pair of reins because this helps me to get some openness in my chest rather than just having one hand. For myself, I just like that sense of rolling my shoulders back, feeling the openness in my chest. Now your aim is to push into the wall with your left foot and also get that sense of pushing down into the floor. So you're fully opening the back of your leg. Push your way into the belt and see if you can get this leg to straighten. So if you've got tight hamstrings, your foot may be closer to the wall. If you're a little bit more flexible, it may be coming a little closer to you. Just pause there, feeling that openness in your hamstring. And then I invite you to lift your head up. See if you can take your hands a little closer to your foot. For some of you, you may be able to find a pistol grip on your big toe. And then just pull yourself up towards your foot a little more. So you're using your core muscles, feeling that you can bring your head and your chest up rather than bringing your body towards your leg. And then gently releasing down. Swapping legs, the belt goes around the left ball of the foot. Shuffle yourself in so you can find that push it into the wall, that push it down towards the floor as your left leg goes up. Press away into the belt, find some openness in your chest. And then just see where you can go with this hamstring stretch. Just ease and gently, listening to your body. Only go within your limits. And then again, either reaching your hand up the belt or finding a pistol grip if that's within your range. And then as you pull down on the belt or down on your big toe, guide your chest and your head a little higher up, working on those core muscles. And gently releasing down. Okay, now roll yourself over, bring yourself to stand up. And we're going to do very similar pose, but now standing. So, Hasta. You stand facing your wall, you put the belt around the right wall of the foot, just like we did when we were on the floor. This time you're raising the leg to the wall. And you want to be finding, ideally, a bit of a 90-degree angle with your base leg as she shuffles her foot backwards and forwards. Now your lifted leg will just be dependent on the range of your hamstrings. So if your leg didn't come to 90 degrees laid on the floor, it's not going to miraculously come to 90 degrees now. So have your foot a little bit lower if you need to. Now very similar to what we did on the floor, hold the belt like a pair of reins, roll your shoulders back, find that openness in your chest. And it's very similar, so your base leg, I was asking you to push into the wall and push down towards the floor. This time I want you to push down into the floor with your left foot and just feel like you're pushing the thigh back behind you, so you've got that openness. And lower that leg down. Swap to the other side. So belt around the left foot. Find that firmness in your right foot as you bring the leg up. Find whatever height you need for your hamstring. Ground down into your right foot. Feel like your inner right thigh is pushing back behind you. Find that openness in both legs. Lifting it through your chest so you're nice and long. And then gently release. Okay, so now we're going to do pretty much the same pose, but we're going to turn it around and we're going to bring our hands to the floor. Okay, so like a warrior three. So you're going to fall forward, you're going to bring your hands to the floor and you're going to raise your back leg. So same thing, hip wants to be more or less stacked on the foot, over the foot, and your left leg is lifted. Your hands are just underneath your shoulders. So legs are pretty much doing exactly what we've been doing, it's just that our body is changing slightly. So grounded down into our right foot. Right glute is working strongly here. You're pushing your left foot into the wall and you're aiming to find length through your spine. Pause, take a couple of breaths, soft inhales, exhales through your nose. And let's swap legs. So lower your left leg down, you can stay with your hands on the floor. Put the weight into your left foot, squeeze your left glute and find the wall with your right foot. So, This left glute is firing. You're aiming to keep your hips facing the floor. You're pushing strongly into the wall and you're extending through your spine, just like you did in the other two poses. And release that leg and roll yourself up. So they link very closely together. So we're going to do similar kind of thing, starting on the floor, this time in Supta Asana 2. So for this one, I'm just going to position myself this way so I've got enough room to take my leg out to the side. So you're going to lay yourself down. Begin, as we did before, by taking the right leg up towards the ceiling, finding that hamstring stretch. Now, particularly for this one, do see that you're shuffled in close to the wall so you can actively press into the wall to help stabilise. Now, once you feel you've achieved the stretch in your hamstring, place the belt in your right hand, take your left hand out to the side for support. Now, with control, we're going to take the right leg out to the right, but aiming to keep our chest and our hip looking up towards the ceiling, so we're not just purely rolling to the right. Now when you get to the point where you feel that you've got to the end of your stretch, bend your right elbow, place your elbow on the support on the floor for support, and you can actively push away into your right foot. You can actively press down into your left leg and reach away into your left hand. So the body is still aligned to look up towards the ceiling. You should be feeling the openness in your right hip. Let's just see if we can stay here for a moment or two, encouraging that push away into the right foot, that opening into the right hip. And there does need to be a certain amount of glute strength happening in this pose to keep you stable. And use that glute to lift that leg back to the centre. And then we'll do the same thing on the left. So placing the belt around the left foot, find the wall with your right leg so you can actively push into it. Find that stretch of left hamstring. Transfer the belt to the left hand, right arm out to the side for support. And again with control, take this leg out to the side. When you feel you're at your maximum, elbow drops. And that helps to just stabilise a little so you can actively push away into your left foot. Encourage that openness, lift your left hip. And again, you should be using that little bit of glute strength to help you stable, or keep you stable. And then with an inhale, use that glute to lift that leg back up. Release the belt and bring yourself to standing. So we're going to do a very similar thing, but a standing pose. Now for this one, you don't need the belt. You can, let's start with the right side because we've been doing right all the way through. Let's start with your right side to the wall. Weight goes into your left foot, your left glute is firing. You're going to lift your right leg onto the wall. So just find your distance where it feels comfortable. This hip more or less wants to be stacked above your foot. And your lifted leg will depend on how tight your hips are. If you're really tight in your hips, don't bring this foot too far back. So just find where you feel you've got some control and it's not excruciating in your right hip. Now, very similar thing to when we lay on the floor, we want to keep the body as neutral as possible. So feeling like you're stood in asana, what tends to happen in this one is our hip wants to hitch. So try and feel like your right thigh is pushing down towards the floor. So your right foot, your right knee is looking up towards the ceiling, your chest is looking forward. And then maybe see if you can raise your arms up towards the ceiling for this one. So legs are doing the same as they were on the ground, arms are doing slightly different. Push down into your left foot, reach a little taller into your hands, and release yourself out of the pose. Let's swap sides. Exactly the same thing. Find the weight into your right foot, switch right glute on, raise your left leg to the wall. Height-wise it depends on your hamstrings and your hip. So look and see what's happening with this lifted leg. See that your left thigh is rotating outward and your knee is looking up towards the ceiling. See if you can get your chest to look forward. Still squeezing this right glute, find balance in your feet, raise your arms to the ceiling if you're feeling balanced. And just take a couple of breaths. With your inhale, can you reach a little taller? With your exhale, can you soften a little into the pose? And release
release your arms to release your leg. So let's do that pose now with the hands on the floor. So it becomes a Ardha Chandrasana or a half moon pose. So like when we did the warrior pose at the wall, it's very similar. You're going to fold yourself forward, find the floor, and then you're going to raise your right leg, whoops, up to the wall behind you. So find that 90-degree-ish angle that you did in your warrior. So left glute is firing, right leg is lifted. Now this time, you're going to put the weight more into your left foot, left hand. Right hand comes to your lower back, and you simultaneously turn your chest and turn that right foot to face to the right. So now you're in your half moon. So very similar to what we've just done with the legs in the other two poses. Now push your way into the foot in the wall, push it down into the foot on the floor, and if you want to raise your hand up, you can do. And then again with control, just carefully lower your body down towards the floor, and let's swap legs. The weight goes into the right foot, squeeze the right glute, raise the left leg up towards the wall. Find some length in your pose, put the weight more into right hand, right foot as your left hand comes to your lower back. Simultaneously turning your chest, turning your foot. So we've got this openness of the hip that we're standing on, or the foot that we're standing on, and you're trying to get your chest and your other hip to face forward. Raise your hand if you wish. So hopefully you can see the links between the poses. And then with control, unwind, bring your foot down, roll yourself up to Tadasana. So you probably guessed it, we're going to come back to the floor. So take a belt, lay yourself down. Place the belt around the right ball of the foot. Find the wall with your left foot. First of all, finding that hamstring stretch in the right leg. Now this time, belt goes in the left hand, right arm out to the side for support. We're going to begin by taking the right leg over to the left. Now don't go too far to begin with. Still feeling pressure down in your left side of your back. I just want you to push your way into the ball of the foot. Feel this stretch around your right ITB, your right hip area, your right outer glute. Just taking a breath and softening a little. And then turn your left foot towards the left. Allow this right leg now to come closer to the floor and reach your way into your right hand. So you begin to get this nice diagonal stretch through the body. So be active, push your way into the belt with your right foot, reach the way into your right hand. The lower your foot comes, the more stretch you will get. So listen to your body, see what feels good at this moment in time. Use your breath, particularly your exhalation, to release and soften a little more into the position. Now use a little bit of glute strength to raise that leg back up, so you do it with control, and let's do the other side. So swapping the belt, shuffling and find that wall once more for support, find your hamstring stretch, belt into right hand, left arm to the side. Begin first of all with that subtle stretching away so you get the stretch down the side of the leg first. Push your way into the belt. And then allow your right foot to turn to the right. Allow your left foot to come closer to the floor. As you push into the belt, reach into your left hand. Feel that nice diagonal stretch. And you will probably find one side is a little tighter than the other. For me personally, this side is a little bit trickier. So if that's you, using your breath to soften and release will help. And then again with control, use an inhale, use your glute strength to return to center. And then bring yourself back up. So let's do that in the standing version. So like we did earlier, belt around right foot. Face your wall. See if you can get your distance. I always get my distance a little bit too off. You think I've got longer legs than I have. So, like you just did on the floor, find that first hamstring stretch. Hold with your left hand, right hand is going to reach behind you, okay? Now pull with your hand on the belt, reach into your right hand and get that lovely stretch through your body. So this can feel extremely intense on your kind of ITB area, on your outside of your leg or around your glute and your hip, and also into your spinal muscles. So just go to wherever feels good. Ease out of the pose, and let's do the other side. So belt around left foot. Find that strength in your right glute, raise your left leg up. Hold onto the belt with your right hand, left hand goes around behind you. Again, you'll find one side maybe is a little tighter than the other. Actively pull with your right hand, reach into your left fingers. See how much space and rotation you can create in the body. See if you can keep your breath soft and steady, and then ease yourself out of the pose. Final one, Parivrtta Ardha Chandrasana. So we start the same way we did for the last couple of poses. You're going to fold yourself down, hands come to the floor, right foot stays firm, left leg comes up. This time I've gone the other way, my legs are actually longer than I thought. So, start first of all in that warrior 3 type of pose. This time, bring your left hand a little more midline, take your right hand to your lower back. And then you're going to push firmly into the wall with your left foot as you rotate your chest to the right. And then see if you can reach your right hand up to the ceiling. So very similar to what we've just done, slightly different position. Carefully release. It's a strong little pose on the legs. Swapping legs, so weighting to the left foot, right leg to the wall. Find that glute strength on your left, push into the wall with your right foot. Right hand comes more midline, left hand to the lower back. See if you can roll your left shoulder back, rotate your chest to the left, reach your hand to the ceiling. Stretch into your fingers, push the ground away, find as much rotation as you can, and release. And then just bring yourself so your feet are about hip distance apart. Have a little bend in the knee and come to a bit of a ragdoll style pose. So hold above your elbows, maybe take a sway. You can bend your knees a little further if your hamstrings are feeling super tight, super stretched. And then just bending your knees, bring yourself down, bring yourself onto the floor. And let's just stretch out into a shavasana. So shuffle yourself onto your mat if you've wiggled yourself away. Stretch the legs out, lay yourself down. Take your arms slightly to the side, feeling that you can release your shoulders away from your ears. Ideally, give yourself some space, turn your palms towards the ceiling, maybe take your feet a little wider and allow your feet to relax. And just connect to your breath, allow your breath to settle. So some of those poses were quite intense. So just allow your breath to find its rhythm. Ideally breathing softly in and out through your nose. And just find a sense of heaviness in your body. Maybe scanning through your body and just feel what's happening. Are there any areas in your body that are feeling a little niggly, a little bit upset from the practice? Or is everything just feeling nice and stretched and released? No judgment, just awareness. See if there's any areas in your body that do feel a little tighter. Really take your attention there. Use your breath to soften and let go. Find that sense of heaviness, that sense of release. And then just once again check in with your breath. Has your breath started to settle a little now? Has it found its natural rhythm? Maybe it started to become a little deeper. Can you feel where your breath arises? Do you feel like you're taking a nice full breath or a slightly shallower breath? Again, no judgment, just awareness. Now you are welcome to stay for as long as you wish in your shavasana. If you do wish to disturb, just start to bend your knees, ground your feet. Maybe take your arms overhead, take a little stretch. And then just carefully roll towards your right hand side into a fetal position. Pause for a breath. And when you're ready, you can gently push yourself back up. Thank you everybody for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again.